Hey, hey, y'all. You were listening to Definitely Not For Everyone with your girl, Nicolette. What's up, what's up, what's up? We are here today with Angelica Jiminez, aka Angeegemini. What do you always write on your thing? She created a life she loved. I love that
Yes,
shit so much.
yes.
So please say hello to the audience. Say hello to the listeners for me.
Hello, everybody. I'm so happy to be here with y'all.
I'm so happy that you're here, love. I feel so blessed that you said yes when I
Oh,
asked you to come on. And I'm so happy that we finally was able to make a date to make it happen. So
yes.
thank you. So two things. I have you really here to do this conversation with me because number one, I want to thank you. And you read this in my show notes.
I did.
You know what I mean? Like you read it in my show
did.
notes.
I
I'll
did. I
say this
did.
to everybody, but like, the pandemic was some shit,
Yes.
I got introduced to TikTok. I got hooked. You were on my For You page, and I was honestly intrigued and interested, and I felt empowered with the things that you were putting out. I felt beautiful. I felt like you were beautiful and you were
Oh.
sexy and you were all like, like proud of your curves and your,
Yes.
and it was just an immediate like, yes,
Mhm.
follow, right? Yeah, you made me happy. You made me feel like my thoughts and my opinions were not only my own, but that other people felt that way too.
Mhm.
That the world was not such a horrible fucking place.
Yes.
Um, so yes, first and foremost, thank you so much for doing what you do.
Oh, you're welcome. And thank
And
you
then,
for following me, honestly, because when I started, I was like, there, I don't have any followers. Like, this is going to be for me. And then people started following me. I was like, oh my God.
yeah, I can imagine that would be like a really weird thing, but we'll get
Yes.
into that. And then the second thing is exactly what you're saying is like I really just wanted to be able to find out more about you because looking at your page, you do share your life most definitely.
Mhm.
But the things that I want to know, maybe it's only me that wants to know them, but like I want to know you, like I want to know the
Uh-huh.
person behind the TikToks,
Yes.
like I want to know like your childhood and what that was like and all of that shit.
Yeah.
The stuff that you talk to your girlfriends about, you know what I mean? Like,
Mhm.
yo, like how did you grow up? Like that kind of thing.
Yeah.
Um, so usually how I begin all my episodes is by starting off with you defining yourself, if you feel comfortable with that.
Okay.
And if not, then maybe just how you're feeling today. Or you can also talk about maybe something that's a little bit quirky about you that maybe no one else knows about. So I will go first so you could kind of like mull that over and think
Okay.
about it a little bit. Um, so I'm half Japanese, half Black. I was born in Guyana, which, fuck, it's like South America, but it's still part of like the Caribbean, whatever. And I came over to the US when I was about 5 years old. I grew up in Brooklyn, BK baby, yes.
Oh.
Um, and I have two kids. I'm a massage therapist. I just opened my own business. I've been a massage
Yes.
therapist for 18
Congrats.
years. Thank you, thank you.
Yes. Congratulations.
Thank you, my love. And the pandemic is just doing shit, right? Like it's just
Yep.
making people do stuff.
Yep. Absolutely.
Something quirky about me. I've said these so many times before, but I can't think of anything new. The two things I love to curse, right? Fuck
Yes.
and bitch in
Oh
all
my
ranges
God.
are my
Yes.
favorite words in the
Yes.
entire universe.
Yes.
Number two, I love talking about sex. I think it is the most funniest shit in the world. Like it makes me
Mhm.
so happy. And I love cracking people up about it because my mind is nasty. And I guess maybe the third thing, I am a loyal friend. Like
Okay.
I'm a ride or die kind of chick. You know what I mean?
Mhm. Yeah.
It's mainly when it comes to my friends because my friends ended
Yes.
up being,
Your
that
family.
chosen family, right?
Okay. Yeah.
All right, that's me.
Okay.
What you got? What you got
Uh,
for me, boo?
so I grew up in Connecticut. I'm Puerto Rican, full Puerto Rican. Both of my parents, they're from New York. Um, they met, I don't know, maybe a few years before I was born. I was born in '88. I'm 32. Um, they separated very early. I lived with my mom for a bit, and then my father got full custody of me when I was about 6.
Ooh,
And I've
can
lived
you?
in
We're gonna go straight into the questions. You got to
Okay.
stay a little bit longer in that in between point there. You were
So
born in Connecticut.
I was born in Connecticut.
Your parents divorced. Why did they?
They never married. They never married. No, they never married. They were together for a few years. I was very small when they separated.
Mm-hmm.
And then my mom is a Rolling Stone, so she was all over the United States basically. My dad was following her, and then at
Mm-hmm.
6 years old, she actually went to jail. And so my father got full custody of me and brought me back to the West Coast, where his mother, my grandmother from my father's side, his whole
Mm-hmm.
family's here. So they all raised me. It was my father was a single father. He never met another
Wow,
woman.
that's
It was
rare.
always just me and him. Yeah.
Wait, so if I may ask, you don't have to answer this question, but
Uh-huh.
like, what did mom go to jail for? You don't have to
When I
answer
was
it.
she to be honest, I don't really know, but she went to jail
Oh,
multiple times for different things. She was just in and out
um,
of jail my whole so he got full custody of me. She had to like go through court to have like visitation with me and stuff like that if she had, which
wow,
she didn't do often because she was in and out of jail, and then she
right.
was also all over the United States, and it still is now, like just everywhere. She's absolutely everywhere.
So why is
um
she everywhere, if I may ask? Is she a
I
singer
don't
or
know.
is
No,
she
no,
just a
no. No,
no,
she's
nothing
just
like that?
everywhere.
Okay.
No, no, no,
Okay.
no.
Got
She's
it.
just everywhere. That's
Okay.
just who she is.
Okay.
I feel like growing up, I was like, I don't want to be like that. Like, I want this stability and this,
Yeah.
I want to be in one place. And it's hard for me, right? Because I don't know if I get that from her or if that's just myself, but I find it hard to stay in one place. Like,
Hmm.
I have to like, you're going to stay here. And I've lived in Connecticut, like I said, my entire life. I lived in New Jersey for 8 or 9 years.
Hmm.
I'm letting it all out. 8 or 9 years because me and my wife separated, and then I moved back to Connecticut.
Oh,
So I'm here, but I have this like traveler soul where I want to be everywhere else. I want to do all these other things. And I
yeah.
have kids now. So I'm like, I have to stay.
God, even
I have
harder.
to stay, right? But I want to be everywhere. So
Yes.
it was something that growing up, I was like, I don't want to be like my mom everywhere.
Hmm.
But now I'm like, I get it. It's like fresh to be able to be in different places and experience different things. And that could be what she's chasing, right? She could just be chasing experiences and whatever. So
But
that was
your
that.
understanding of your mom, though, like I feel like, a lot of people would end up being like, fuck my mom, like she wasn't there for me. And like, have this like
No.
angst and like this victim mentality. I don't know if that's what it's called.
Yeah.
But you seem to not have that at all. Like, how did you overcome
So
that? Like, what did you do to like be like, you know what, I forgive you and
I'm
this is
not going to, yeah.
yeah.
So I think growing up, because she wasn't around, it
Mhm.
was my older sisters, my father saying that this is who your mom is. She moves around, she does this, she does that. And I was like, nope, that's my mom. I love her, right? Like, I want to have a relationship with her. And then I did, and she proved to be what everyone said she was. Was, she was moving around. She wasn't dependable. She wasn't stable. And so from 2010 to 2010, I had left. I was in Job Corps in Massachusetts,
Mhm.
and I left there. And this is how I ended up in New Jersey. Was I went down there to be with her because I was an adult at that point, and I was like, I'm going to work. I'm going to be with my mom and build this relationship with her, because her past is her past. There's nothing, what can I do about it, right? Like,
Totally. Yeah.
you're my mom, and I love you. And
Right.
it seems dramatic, but when I think about people in my life, I think if I'm mad at someone, right? If something happened to them, is this worth it? Like,
Mm,
you know what I mean? At the end of
yeah.
the day, and so I think that was part of what got me down to New Jersey, was like, I haven't heard from my mom in a few years. What if something happened to her? What if, and they don't know to contact me because I'm not anywhere in any of her paperwork, or, something like that. And so that's what brought me down there. So like I said, she proved to be who my sisters and my father said she was. And quite a few times she burned me, just various ways where I remember going to work and hanging out with my girlfriend at the time, who ended up being my wife. And when I came home, I was locked out of the house because she had moved all of her things out, and the landlord just locked the door and all of my stuff was there.
Wow.
Um, so then I get into that space of, I need to stay away from you. But then a few years later, I'm like, that's my mom, right? She's my mom, and I want to have a relationship with her. Like, things are going to start happening in my life. I'm going to get married. I'm going to have kids, and I want my mom to be there for that because she missed so much. But it honestly, at the end of the day, I don't really have a relationship with her now.
Yeah.
Because I'm in a space of, I have children, and they're the most important thing for
Priority.
me, and consistency. So
Yes.
I've learned that stability isn't necessarily that I'm in the same house, in the same town, in the same place for forever, right? I'm my children's stability. I'm
That's
here
right.
24/7.
Yes.
But I also, if people are going to be what my children can depend on, my mom is not someone that my children can depend on.
Yes, girl.
And so for that, it's like, I still love you, I respect you, and I wish you well, but I can't have you in my day-to-day life because it doesn't work for me, right? My kids, and she did come around. I had kids, and I was like, okay, like, I had the conversation with her. You've got to be around. You've got to show up. You've got to be a part of all of this.
Mm-hmm.
And then she hit me with a, hey, I'm moving. I think it was back to California or something like that.
Right.
And I was like,
Yeah. She's not
all right,
capable. Some people
okay,
are not capable in this
yeah. Which is,
lifetime to
yeah.
be what
What
you
can I
need
do
them to
about it?
be. Yeah. Yeah,
Exactly. She did what
definitely.
she could with what she had, and
Exactly.
there's no hard feelings because
It's nothing you can control.
there's nothing I can
There's
control
nothing
about
you
it.
can control. There's nothing you can do about it.
That's
That's
exactly
a
it.
really very mature and grown up way to look at it. I mean, freaking 85-year-old people has
Still
still
are mad
not
at their
like,
parents.
yeah. Yes.
That's true though,
So
but
like
it's.
it's, so but
Mhm.
what was your life like with your dad, and how many sisters do you have?
So I have two older sisters and three younger brothers,
Okay.
but we all have different fathers.
Okay.
So when my mother went to jail, my father got full custody of me, and it was just me that he had.
Got it.
Um, and life with him, I mean, I remember in the beginning living in my aunt's houses because he was living this bachelor lifestyle. I wasn't there full time, and
Mm-hmm.
then I remember he was working all the time, so I spent a
Yeah.
lot of time in my aunt's houses because he was trying to do what he needed to do to get us an apartment and all that kind of stuff. So
What did that
um
feel like?
I
Do you remember how that felt for you?
I I mean I knew I knew my father. I knew who my father was because he was always around, but I didn't know my cousin.
Mm.
And I have a very great relationship with my cousins. My family is very close.
Mm-hmm.
So I have a really great relationship with my cousins, and I mean, they're my sisters. Like, so I
Right.
did everything
Okay.
with them. I did everything with them. Their aunts, my aunts are like my moms to me. So
Mm-hmm.
I
Mm-hmm.
had a very good relationship with all of them. And then, he got the flow of things and started working normal hours and stuff like that. And, we were fine. But yeah, my
That's
family is
so
very close.
special.
My aunts they're everything. I love them.
Yeah,
Them
that's
and my cousin.
amazing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It was, I mean, we struggled. He was a single father, trying to make ends meet. But I
Mm-hmm.
never, even when we went without, even when we didn't have hot water or we didn't
Mm-hmm.
have heat or something like
Mm-hmm.
that, it was still like I felt loved by my dad, right? Like
Right.
a good, I had a good relationship with him, and I had a good relationship with my aunts growing up, where I felt comfortable with them to talk to
Mm-hmm.
them and stuff like that.
Mm-hmm.
Um, it was I feel like it was like a good childhood. Like
Yeah.
my aunt's husband, like they're my uncles, would
Yeah.
take us out on the weekends to parks and stuff like that. During the
Mm-hmm.
summertime, we'd go to lakes and stuff, and it would be
Yeah.
everybody got together.
Oh,
So,
that's so
oh
awesome.
God, all the time.
I
And then
cannot relate. That was
no,
definitely not my experience as a kid at all. It was just me and my
oh,
mama. You know what I mean?
okay,
And my dad was a good, like he tried his best too,
mhm,
like your mom tried her best.
yeah,
But and he did try to be there, but his
mhm,
being there was conditional love, if that makes
okay,
sense.
yeah, no,
So
absolutely,
it didn't work for me. I didn't
mhm,
like that so
yeah,
much. And then so I didn't have any family here. It
Oh,
was just
okay.
me and my mom. You know, mom is Japanese, so it's like all the family was in Japan and stuff like that.
Mm-hmm.
And I was one of those latchkey kids. Have you ever
Oh,
heard
me
of
too.
that? Where
Oh
it's
yeah,
like, you know, yeah,
definitely.
like, you know,
It's
you
a
got the
90s
key to
kid.
your house.
Absolutely.
You got to like
Absolutely.
look around you, make sure ain't
Make
nobody
sure,
following you.
and don't open the door.
Don't
I'll
open
be
the door
home.
for
Yes.
nobody.
Yep.
Make sure you call when you get home.
Yep.
Yes. Yeah.
I was too. 90s kid for sure.
Right. So like, you, what were any struggles that you might have went through in your
Like with
younger,
my
or
father.
no, just in general, like, you know,
Oh, okay.
within yourself maybe, or in high school, you know, when
Hmm.
the popular, you know, like
Yeah.
just regular stuff.
Um.
And have you
So
like
I mean,
overcome some of that? I feel like you've overcome a lot if you even
I
had any type of issues. Because
um.
watching your TikToks, I'm like, shit, I'm 42. I wish had all of that.
um. So I mean, definitely with my father as I grew older, because it's such a, I don't know, like common that men aren't taking care of their children. That when my father, here's this guy and he's a single dad and he's going to work and he's providing for his daughter, there's this like, let's put him on this pedestal, right? Because
Mm-hmm.
and so for a long time, I was like, my dad is so amazing, right? Because he could have left me, I could have ended up in foster care because my sister was in foster care.
Wow.
Like,
Right.
I could have ended up there. And so I think for a long time, I gave him a
Idolized
pass.
him.
Idolized him, but I gave him a pass for some stuff, right? Like
Got it.
some of it, I don't know. Um, it's some of the stuff that happened growing up. He was verbally abusive and he was physically abusive, and so some of it was like it was my fault, right? Like I didn't do the things I was supposed to do. And then as I got older, probably like in my early 20s, I was like, he just did what he was supposed to, right? Because he had a kid and he had to take care of me. Like there's no reward for that. Like your reward is that your child grows up, right? Like that's your reward. You have to take care of your children. So I think I took him off that pedestal, and I think then I started to not give him that pass. Your behavior is not acceptable, right? Like you're treating me this way. I don't like this, so I'm gonna leave.
Mm-hmm.
My relationship with him now is not good. But I feel like it was, my father was very affectionate. He was very loving. He's a funny guy. My dad is 6'4", like 250, 300 pounds. Like growing up, he was always like this big fun guy, right? Uncle
Yeah.
Bill. He's Uncle Bill. Like he's so much fun. But there were things like behind the scenes that it's like,
Yeah, they're
that's
going through their own
why
trauma,
they're,
right? They're
yeah,
working through their
definitely.
own trauma through you
Absolutely.
sometimes, which is some bullshit, but
Absolutely.
yeah.
Absolutely. And I heard those stories, right? My mom, he grew up in New York. He grew up in Harlem.
Mm-hmm.
And, I remember him telling me stories of like his mom, like jamming the broom under the bed because he was hiding because he did something he wasn't supposed to. And she's trying to get to like, so I know that this is for him, this is like and it's the thing, right? Like you hit your kids, they're not listening, you hit your kids. And so that cycle keeps going. And it's like, for me, because he was a single father and everyone was like, that's so amazing and you're so
Mm-hmm.
great, that I
Mm-hmm.
was like, my dad is so great and I probably deserved it because I kicked a hole in the wall, which I did
Mm.
do, or I skipped school, which I did do. But it's like
Yes.
that should have
Because
been handled
because
differently
also you're doing your job too.
as a child.
Right?
Exactly.
Yes, that's your
Exactly.
job, is to
Exactly.
challenge and to make a ruckus and, push your boundaries.
Absolutely.
So everybody
Absolutely.
was doing their job.
Exactly. So I think that was a big thing for me, and I think saying this is the behavior I accept and this is the behavior I don't accept, and
Hmm.
being able to put that boundary with someone who is the most authoritative person in my life, my dad.
Right. Yeah,
Being
very
able to
good.
put that boundary up with
Yep.
him, I think helped me be able to put that boundary up with other people to say, I don't like the way you're treating me. I don't like what you're doing. I'm not going to deal with this anymore. You know what I mean?
Yes.
So
And that's why
some of that.
probably they're brought to, that's why we chose the parents we chose, maybe. You know what I
Mm,
mean? To get to the next level that we're at. Because I know I'm
mhm.
more evolved than my parents ever were.
Oh
You know
God,
what I mean? And I'm sure
absolutely.
you are too.
Oh,
So can you
absolutely.
tell me about your coming out story? Do you have one?
I do have one. I kind of have. So I feel like when I talk to my best friend is also a lesbian, and we've been friends for a long time, but it hasn't been until more recently that we're having these kind of conversations, talking
Mm.
about like our past and stuff like that. It's always been like present stuff that's happening. So I'm talking to her, and she's like, "Oh yeah, I knew when I was 5," and I was like, "I didn't though. Like, why didn't I know? Like, why did I miss the memo? Like, what happened?" And she's like, "I don't know. I knew since I was 5." Um, I think part of it is the community that I grew up in is all very heteronormative.
Yes.
Um, so I don't think that I mean, I knew that there were same sex couples, but I didn't see it as someone, I didn't see anyone like me that looked like me that came from where I was from that was in a same sex relationship. This was like white people on TV or something, you know what I mean? It wasn't, nobody looked like me. Um, but I went away to Job Corps in 2009 in Massachusetts, and that was like, oh my goodness, there were every kind of lesbian you can think of there, right? Like super femme, super masculine, and everything in between. And I was like, oh my gosh, and she's pretty, and she's pretty, and she's pretty, and it was like, I've never been able to like, I've never seen women like this, right? Like I've always seen like either, I mean, honestly, like really hyper feminine women. Like that's what
Mm-hmm.
I always saw. Um, so I was at Job Corps, and a few girls were like, "You're really pretty," and it was like, I don't know what to do with this information.
Yes.
Like, I think you're pretty too,
Right.
but I've only dated boys. Like, I've always like only saw boys.
Yeah.
Um, and then, I had, little experiences here and there while I was at Job Corps. Oh, crying child. I'm sorry.
Oh, it's okay.
What's the matter, baby? When I finished Job Corps, I was in New Jersey, and literally like a week after being there, I met my first girlfriend who I ended up marrying. And I had these little experiences in Job Corps that made me feel a little more brave
Mm-hmm.
outside of there to be
Mm-hmm.
like, I like you, you like me, and we'll see where this goes. And then, I mean, we were stuck like glue and ended up having 3 kids and getting married. And it was, and so that's how I knew that I liked girls.
Yeah.
But I did actually have to like tell people. So it
Yeah.
started off on social media where I was just posting pictures of me and her, and I was
Mm-hmm.
kind of just have this mentality like, this is what I'm doing, like, right? I don't
Right.
have to, why,
You have
like,
reason for
am
it.
I supposed to be hiding this? Because I
Right.
don't think that I was supposed to, right? Like, I like this girl and we're hanging out, whatever. um but then I had come back to live with my dad, and she had come to visit me after like a week, because we had, like I said, we were stuck like glue. And after a week of
Mm-hmm.
not being together, she was like, I miss you, I want to see you. And I was like, me too. And so she came to see me. And then my father had asked me, like, do you like her? Are you with her? He said something like that. And I said, yes. And he flipped the fuck out.
Wow.
He flipped the fuck out. And I didn't talk to him for almost a year.
Wow.
He said the worst thing. Um, and that was it. that
Sorry.
that was that was it, right? But then I have, like I said, I have cousins and I have aunts, and I told
Mm-hmm.
them what happened, and they were like, he's a fucking dick, fuck him,
Mm-hmm.
like he,
Oh,
and
yeah.
that's who they were. And have
Oh, I love that.
they have never treated me from 6 years old when they all met me to even to now. They have never treated me different, no matter any of the things that I've told them, any of the
My
things that I've been
goodness.
through.
That is
They're
called
fucking amazing.
family.
That
That
is,
is
oh, I love both. Yeah.
family. And
I
you
have
are
2 aunts,
lucky.
2 cousins. I'm so lucky.
You are lucky that the people that share your blood are able to
Hmm.
be some of your most amazing supporters. That's a
Absolutely.
blessing. So,
Absolutely.
yeah, definitely. So
But
what
yeah,
do you
they were
do?
amazing.
What do you do now? Okay? Are you still married to her?
Okay.
Hmm. What do you do like on a daily? Like, what do you go to work? Like, what, was there work before the pandemic? How many children do you have? Like,
So I'm so sorry. Okay, take a deep breath. So we are technically still married, but we have been separated for 2 years. And so I'm out here in Connecticut. We separated, and I came back out to Connecticut so that I could be with my family because time were my kids at that time were my I had a Kenzie was just turning 3, and the twins, I have a set of twins, boy girl twins, they were just turning 1. So we separated. I had no family in New Jersey or anything like that. So when we separated, I was like, I need to go back home. Like, who's gonna help me do this?
Yeah.
So no, we're not married. We were married 2 years. We got married in 2016. Yes, 2016. We separated 2019, early 2019.
Wow.
Time feels like it's not because of the pandemic.
Because of the
Because
pandemic.
I'm like, wait, was that last year? Was that the year before? But it was 2000.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Yeah.
But it was 2019. We separated. And they're very much a part of the kids' life. Like they call, they talk, they come to see the kids. And you know, it's just that was some of my healing process and stuff like that. And
so you guys co-parent, really?
We co-parent.
Well, okay.
We co-parent. Good. We're trying to get to the very well part, but we definitely co-parent efficiently. Like the kids are number one, the most important. And so whatever we have going on, it's like, nope, we need to show up for the kids and do for the kids and be there for the kids. Okay. And you know, put them first. Okay. Put them first, and then everything else comes after. So if that means that, you know, the kids go to sleep and then we need to have a 2-hour conversation about whatever is happening, then that's what we do. But the kids, for me, because of the way that I grew up, I don't want them to see the fighting. I want them to know that the two people that brought them into this world care about them and love them more than anything. So if that means I have to swallow it and say, all right, I'll talk to you in an hour after they go to sleep, then that's what I have to do, because I don't want them to think that, you know, just any of the stuff that comes with fighting. I know that fighting is normal, not that we can keep everything behind closed doors, but if it's going to be a very intense conversation, emotional conversation where we can't control, I try not to have those in front of the kids, because they don't need to see that kind of stuff. I want them to see I have two parents, and even though they're not together, they cared about me enough to make sure that I was okay. So
So are you guys trying to work it out, or is it done?
No, we're just in different spaces. I don't really know if it's done or not. I hate to say never. I hate to say it's not, but I think that where they are and where I am, we're just doing our own things. We met, they were, they are non-binary. So they are, I think they were 18-ish. I was like 22, 23. So we were young.
Yeah.
And we were young, and we got married after 6 years of being together. And then, like I said, separated after 2 years. So I think that we didn't grow up individually together.
Yeah.
And so now we're separated and trying to grow up and, you know, be who we want to be and fulfill who we are as people individually.
Yes.
And then after that, I have no idea.
Yes. No,
you know,
that's
I don't
how
know.
It's supposed to be. Not everyone is supposed to be in your life forever, right? Like any person
absolutely.
you meet, it could just be for a day, you know,
absolutely.
And they have an impact, and that's all that it was, right?
Yep. I agree.
So I don't want to keep you any longer, because I know we
got
no going on. But I have two more quick questions for you.
No,
and
that's
it
fine.
has to do with your confidence and how that came to pass, as well as TikTok, and like, how did that come to pass too?
So TikTok came to pass because so I have younger nieces who are actually my cousins. I feel like I'm so close with the family that I have that I do call them sisters, and so their children are my nieces. Like, we're that close with one another. So totally. They're actually my nieces, but they're not like blood nieces, but they're cousins. I don't know, whatever. So I remember being like on IG and stuff like that and seeing them post from TikTok and stuff, and I'm like, that's a kid's app, right? Like, I would never. I would never. And then the pandemic hit. The pandemic hit, and I'm a nurse. I'm an LPN. I work in a nursing facility, and
Oh my
I
gosh.
yeah,
That
I
must have
work
been
in
crazy for you.
yeah.
Girl. Oh, Lord of mercy. Okay, go
um,
ahead. Sorry.
no, that's okay. So I work in a nursing facility, and um, I remember I had just gotten back from Iceland. I went to
Mhm.
Iceland in February of
I saw those
2020.
pictures. That was
Yeah.
amazing. I
Oh,
was like,
it was
look at her
so
doing things.
amazing. Oh, it was so amazing. So I had gotten back late February, and then early March they shut everything down, and it was like, what is even happening? And I remember thinking, this isn't going to last, right? This is going to
Mhm.
be a couple of weeks. And so I
Mhm.
remember saying, I'm going to work as much as I can during these
Mhm.
few weeks when everything is shut down, because now I have a babysitter.
Right.
So I worked. And then everything was still shut down. And I was like, I
Yes.
can't continue working like this. So I'm going to just stay home. Like, I'm going to enjoy being
Yeah.
home. And that turned into me being on social media more often.
Mhm.
And my best friend actually made a TikTok and sent it to me and wanted me to watch it. Oh, stay over here, please. Thank you. Um, okay. So she sent me a TikTok and I watched it and it was hilarious, but I had downloaded the app, which was my mistake.
Right.
I did. I downloaded the app and I watched it. We laughed, and then I kept scrolling and scrolling and scrolling, and
Mhm.
hours and hours
Mhm.
and hours went by, and I
Mhm.
was like, oh, I got to feed my kids. Or
Yes.
why are you? I literally remember them writing on the walls and me wanting to be like, why are you writing on the walls? And I was
Yes.
like, well, you weren't watching them. You were on your phone, right? Like,
Right.
kids will do what kids do. So
Totally.
I lost so much time in TikTok. Um, but I started scrolling, and then I feel like going to Iceland, I actually just did a post about this because I was there this week last year,
Mhm.
and I did a flashback Friday. I posted it today actually, and it was about going on that trip and it like opening me up, right? Like,
Mm.
I had separated from my wife the year before,
Mhm.
right around the same time, and I had done so much. I was working two jobs. We had our own apartment, and
Mhm.
my kids had all their stuff, and it was like I was working, right? Like, trying to get everything back on track for us. And then it felt like in February, when I went on that vacation, which I had never left my kids before, never left the country before. When I went on that vacation, it was like, you get to now focus on you and figure out your part of this. You get to slow down. You did all of the physical stuff that needed to happen. Now you get to like heal the you part.
Yes.
So I feel like I was on TikTok. I remember being drawn to a few women who were single moms,
Mhm.
who had come out later in life and stuff
Mhm.
like that. And I remember messaging them, a couple of them, and being like, how do you
Mhm.
co-parent? How do I'm sorry, I know you don't know me, but like,
Mhm.
I'm so lost right now. Like, I don't know what
Yeah.
I'm doing. And so hey, hey, Aiden, can you go, Aiden, Aiden. So I feel like when I got on TikTok, it was more about me like figuring out who I was. My FYP then was like full of lesbian women who were living their truth and having fun, and then moms who were like, you don't have to be a martyr. You can be a good mom and still enjoy your life. You can be a good mom and still have fun and do the things that you want to do. And I was like, I can, because I thought I had to just give to my children, and
Right.
whatever's left over, then I can give to me, right?
Yeah.
Um,
There's nothing ever left over.
there's never no. And so I just got to take it. I
That's
just got
right.
to take it, which I did. That's the funniest thing, that this morning I was like, I woke up and I was like, I'm going to take a shower before the kids wake up. And then they still weren't up. And I was like, I'm going to take a bath. And I like ran to my room. I grabbed my bubbles. I grabbed my bath bomb. And I was like, I'm going to take a bath. I just got to take it now because this is all the time that I have. And
Yes.
literally as I pulled the drain up, Aiden's like, good morning, mom. And I'm like, oh, good thing I did that. Right. But
Yeah.
you're so right. But so that was how I started out on TikTok. And I feel like through that, I then went through a process of figuring out. I remember questioning, like, are you a lesbian? Are you bisexual? Who are you?
Mhm.
Because you dated men.
Mhm.
And when I met my wife at the time, it was well, she has good energy, and that's what I'm attracted to. That's what I like, right? I don't care who she is. I don't care what her parts are or their parts are. It's,
yeah,
we have good chemistry.
right.
And so I remember questioning, well, am I bisexual? Am I a lesbian? Who am I? And going through this whole like thing in my head about it. And I feel like TikTok was like, no, this is not telling me who I was, but I just felt more like I resonated more, right? Like I felt
Right.
more comfortable. I felt like, no, that's me. Like you do like women. It's not a, it wasn't a phase that you were going through. It wasn't just her. You actually do like women. You don't want to have a relationship with a man. And then the posting on TikTok, that was, like I said, that was, I'm just gonna, like, I remember I still have like way too many drafts. I'm embarrassed to ever tell anyone how many drafts I have because it's ridiculous. But I would just hit record and I would play around and I wouldn't post anything. I was just recording and it was just for me. And then right around my birthday, I was like, I'm gonna post something. And I remember getting up and doing my hair and doing my makeup and posting. And then I was like, oh my God, I can't believe I did that. Like the anxiety of I can't believe I did that.
Yeah.
And I was like, okay, it's all right, because part of it is it's the internet, and people on the internet are terrible.
They are mean.
People on the internet are so terrible, and or can be so terrible. And but then I just kept going. I just kept posting every once in a while. I'd post something, and then everything started happening with, after they killed George Floyd, there was a lot of BLM posting going on, and that was it for me, right? Like that happened, and it lit something in me. Like I just, and it's not to say that everybody else, all of the countless names that were lost due to police brutality, that they didn't matter. But I mean, it ignited the entire world.
It was different this time.
It absolutely was. And so I think
it was the same, but it was different.
It was. I think it hit people differently. Like, how is this still happening? Why is this still happening? And so I remember some of my posts, I haven't been back to those early ones. Some of those were just me sharing someone else's content, because I was like, somebody else needs to hear this. And I know that I have like 40 followers, but someone else needs to hear this, right? Like I care about this. And so it became my way of, I think what TikTok has done for me is help me find my own voice. I have so much to say and I don't know how to say it. And then I think, who wants to hear it? And then I'm like, I don't care who wants to hear it. I still want to say this, right? If it resonates with you, it does. If it doesn't, like they say, keep scrolling, right?
Right.
So it was that. And then it was June, it was Pride. And now I feel like I'm this brand new, I still say it, I'm still a baby lesbian, even though I'm 32 and I've been out for 10 years. And so that was exciting for me. And a lot of that was about representation for me, because there are not, I can't name, I'm saying this loosely, but I can't name a single brown skinned Latina that is queer in the LGBT community at all that is out there. I can't think of any. And so for me, it was about that. It was about representing, and, possibly I remember starting it and being like, can I handle it? Right. Like if people are starting to message me about their stories and stuff like that, can I emotionally handle that? And I'm like, I can. Like, that's who I am. I'm someone who, you come to me and you want to talk to me, and we can talk. You can tell me your problems, and I don't take any of that on me. Like, it doesn't, not that it doesn't affect me, because I obviously feel for you, but it doesn't, I don't take on that energy. It doesn't bring me down. It doesn't depress me. You can talk to me. You can pour your heart out to me, and I can just listen to you. I think that I'm a very good listener. So the posting started with that. It was about BLM. It was about Pride. And through those beginning posts, I think that's where my confidence was built in. That's where it was.
So to answer our earlier conversation before we started recording, that's what was the reason why I really, and how I really became engaged with your content, is when, now that I know this information, is when, as much as I enjoyed the before stuff, I was really in it when that thing happened for you, you know,
Yeah.
where your confidence started flowing and like you started being very sure of who you
Mhm.
were and what
Yeah.
your beliefs were and how you felt about them. And
Mhm.
that conviction was so attractive. You know what I mean? It was so
Yes.
like, yes, bitch, like that,
Yes.
yes, because you were saying the things that I was thinking. You know what I
Uh-huh.
mean? That I didn't have the words, like you were saying too, to be
Yeah.
able to create and express that to people. But you were doing that
Uh-huh.
for me. You know what I mean?
Mhm.
So
Mhm.
that was like the connection that I felt and why I continue to follow you.
Yeah. That I feel like it's so very early on it was, and thankfully the community that is following me and the community that I'm in, the people that I'm following and stuff, everybody is very positive and it's not
Mm-hmm.
a tear you down kind of place. And so
Mm-hmm.
I think that that helps me, right? Because there's not
Yeah.
a bunch of people telling me you suck and you're
Right.
terrible and all that
Right.
kind of stuff. And I think the same energy that I'm giving to other people is being returned to me. That they're like, yes, like you said, yes, but I listen, I scroll sometimes and I'm always on the excuse you on the following side and not on the FYP side
Mm-hmm.
because I want to see the content of the people that I'm already following. And I scroll
Yes.
and I'm like, yes, bitch, yes, queen,
Yes,
you fucking
exactly.
killed that.
Yes.
Like,
Yes.
that is what happens. And I live for it. Like, I really
Yeah.
do. And there have been so many people. It's the first video that I remember blowing up. And I remember my mind being like, oh my God, like, how did this even happen? Right. And it
Mm-hmm.
was a voiceover because that's what TikTok is of
Mm-hmm.
me trying to encourage other people to post.
Mm-hmm.
Because here I was 3 months prior saying, oh my God, I can't post. This is so
Yeah.
scary.
Yeah.
And now it's 3 months later and I'm like, post that. All of my cousins are on TikTok and I'm
Yes.
like, fucking post something. Just do it.
Yes.
I know that it feels silly. I know that, you might be worried and stuff like that, but I feel like it's such an outlet for me to say things that I want to say. And then I get to go back and, you know,
It's like a diary.
it is. And I don't always, sometimes I create stuff and it stays in my draft. And then it's months later. I did this recently with something and I was kind of nervous to post it about feeling like I wasn't enough. I
Mm.
created that video in the summer of we're in 2021 now. So I created that in the summer of 2020
Yeah.
and didn't post it until the winter of
Now.
2021.
Ah.
And I posted it and I said, I remember what I was feeling when I made that video. I remember
Mm-hmm.
feeling like this, like you're just not doing enough. There's that you could be doing more. I remember feeling like just defeated. And I recorded it and I was like, I'm never fucking posting that. Like, there's no way I'm
Yeah.
ever gonna post that kind of shit.
Mm-hmm.
And then I came up on it again because early or late December, right around New Year's and stuff like that, I was going through this. Oh, I was going through this. I don't know what to call it. This phase, I guess, or whatever, where I was in a funk, couldn't get out of this funk, and so
Yeah.
I started. I so part of it was I was creating content from December 1st all the way to the 31st. My best
Mm-hmm.
friend challenged me to create content every single day.
Mm-hmm.
I was like, that's fucking a lot, right? But she's
Mm-hmm.
like, you can do it. And I'm like, okay, fine, we'll do it. And then I remember seeing that video and I was like, I feel this again. I'm
Mm-hmm.
feeling this again. Here I am 6, 7, 8 months later, and I'm still feeling, not still feeling, but feeling it again. I'm
Mm-hmm.
in this space again. And I questioned it. Should I post this? I have a friend that's on TikTok that we've never met. They're from Canada. And I reached
Mm-hmm.
out to them and I said, what do you think of this? Like, you're someone who follows me. Does this bring you down? Because I'm
Mm-hmm.
usually this bubbly, happy person. Does this make you feel like, what the hell is she going through? And he's like,
Yeah.
they said, honestly, this is the content that I appreciate from creators when they're honest and they're real. And I was like, all right, I'm going to do it. And then it's, like I said, to be able to go back and see like even some of the things that I say, like about that you're a good mom. moms are so hard on themselves.
Yeah,
And I
so
remember
true.
making that video and
Yeah.
feeling like I fucking crushed it today.
Yes.
Everybody brushed their teeth and everyone had breakfast. And, you
Yes.
know, whatever we did, it's like, you know,
Mm-hmm.
those good mom days, I'm like, yes. And so and, and part of it is that I know that I'm not the only one. I know that I'm not the only mom that is super hard on themselves. I know I'm not the only person that's like a little uncomfortable in their body and
Yeah.
you're just trying to embrace it. And so
Mm-hmm.
some of those videos where I'm in crop tops and stuff like that, I was like,
Mm-hmm.
this is my body. My body is beautiful and this is what I'm going to do. And I'm going to make this video. And it is a little scary still to post it, but I'm like, I'm going to fucking post it because I know that I have a community of people who feel the same as me
Mm-hmm.
and who are going to support me because they know that I'm genuine. They know that it really is like, this is where I say, like, I don't understand sometimes why people want to hear me because I'm in the same boat that they're in too. You know what I
That's
mean?
why they want to hear
But
you,
it's not,
love.
but
Because
it's,
you're speaking for them almost, if that makes sense at all.
yeah, no, that
Yeah.
does. That does.
So I'm
So
gonna.
that was how I started on TikTok. And I feel like as I get through, sometimes my issue is it is only 60 seconds tops. And like, how do I get everything that I'm trying to say quickly?
Mm-hmm.
Because I think it's like the first 6 seconds is all that you get to
Mm-hmm.
grab someone in or not. And I'm like, how
Right.
do I grab them in to say this really important thing? Because it matters to me.
Mm-hmm.
I know I do a lot of like flirty and fun stuff on there, but the stuff that I really care about is
Yeah.
the stuff that I'm talking, the stuff that takes me more time to edit because I'm putting captions, because I'm actually talking.
Right.
That's the stuff that I'm like, I hope that this resonates with you. I hope that this moves you in the way that it moves me so that you can feel better or, you know, whatever it is. Hey, it's got the eyes.
I'm sure. He's like, you told me to
You
shush.
what?
Yes. Well, okay. I think we're going to end it there. Thank you so much. Just because, I understand what's happening right now with them babies. They're like, Mommy, why aren't you giving me no attention?
Seriously,
You need to
all
put me to sleep. Thank you very much. Right? Don't you wish somebody could put their own selves to
seriously.
sleep? I'm like, well,
You
I
know
have to
what?
lay
And
with you.
they do sometimes. I think tonight they knew that I wanted to do something.
Right.
I feel like tonight they knew I wanted to do something, so they were like, "We're just gonna stay up. We're gonna play. We're they're
Yeah,
trying.
totally. All right. So
They're good kids."
to my listeners, thank you so much for listening. I hope you enjoyed this episode. I hope you keep listening. And I think I already said that shit. Anyway, so I love y'all so much. And we are out. Say goodbye to the audience, girlfriend.
Bye, y'all. Thank you so much. I'm so happy to be here.